Immigration eases visa extensions in North Bali Airport to be postponed again. Stay tuned for details. Welcome back to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is January 29th, 2023, and my name is Bruce. And what is the weather like today? Well, I'm filming at night again today, and it was really windy today and warm, muggy early in the day. Then it got really windy, and we got some intense rain, but very short period of rain, about an hour, and not too bad. Right now it is 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and it is 27 degrees Celsius. Wind speed is 7.4 kilometers per hour, and the humidity is a high 74%. So not the best day today, and I heard that it was raining a lot in Denpasar from one of my daughters, and I hope wherever you are, the weather is much better than it is right now today in Buleleng. Well, good news for people coming into Indonesia who want to get their visas and want to get them extended. So let's take a look at that first. Indonesian immigration makes it easier for foreigners to extend their stays. Foreign citizens can now apply for tourist visas and pre-investment visit visas online through molina.immigration.go.id, and I talked about this before, a few weeks ago, I think. But there has been an addition, which is pretty cool. A new service has been announced that goes along with the 73rd anniversary of Indonesia's immigration service. That was on Thursday, a couple days ago. In addition to being able to apply for your visa online, you can now extend your electronic visa on arrival, your EVOA, through the Foreigner Traffic Module, that's Molina, website. So you don't have to go to immigration to do it. You can do it online. Isn't that cool? Payment can be made using a credit or debit card within the Visa, MasterCard, or JCB network, and that way foreigners can complete their visa applications in one process. You can get the first trip online, but then you have to go into the immigration office to do the second trip. But now they're making it easier and you don't have to go into the office, so you could do away with the visa agent altogether. According to Immigration Director General Silmi Karim, the one-form digitalization of public services is being promoted by the Immigration Directorate General. And prior to the new service, foreigners having the EVOA had to come to the immigration office to extend their stays, as I said. So now, foreign tourists can be more comfortable during their vacation because they can process everything anywhere and anytime. I think that's a movie, isn't it? Simply by using a smartphone and an internet network. Foreigners can apply for a visit visa for tourism and pre-investment without requiring a sponsor. This service is expected to encourage the growth of tourism in investment sector, he said. Foreigners using the service are required to register on the website. Those with an account can fill out an online application and upload all supporting documents required as stated on the website. After all data is confirmed to be correct, the applicant can complete the payment by following the guidelines listed. The visa will be sent electronically to their email address. And he said, I hope that all the efforts we make will contribute to the progress of the nation and strengthen the country's positive image. So this is going to make it a lot easier for tourists coming in here now. You can get the EVOA online, right? You don't have to stand in line and do that when you get here. And then you can extend for another 30 days online. No going to the offices, no waiting in lines, no getting agents. Wow, things are getting better all the time. But still no word on what's happening with the retirement visa. And there's been a lot of chatter about that. Apparently, some agents are getting people new retirement visas by going around the system. They come in on the B211 and then they convert it to a retirement visa when they're onshore. Now, how long that is going to go on, I have no idea. Still waiting to see what the government's planning on doing with the retirement visa. But for tourists, this is a good thing. Okay, you know that if you've watched this channel for a period of time, you know that I'm fascinated with the North Bali airport. Well, because I live in North Bali, and the North Bali airport has been something we've been talking about for many, many, many years up here. Well, more news on North Bali Airport. Residents of Buleleng want North Bali Airport to continue to be built. Commission 3 DPRD asked for postponement. So the plan was, in case you're not familiar with this, that there's going to be a second airport that was going to be built and was going to be up here in Buleleng. The idea was that it was going to help spread tourism around, help get more tourists up here, provide jobs, give a boost to the local economy. And well, I've been talking about it for years, and it was going to be in one place, and it was going to be in another place, and it was going to be back over here and then back over there. And then it kind of got frozen. Now the plan is to postpone it. So this was conveyed by the chairman of Commission 3, DPRD, Bali Province, A.A. Nura Adi Ardana, at the finalization of the draft regional regulation of the province of Bali concerning the spatial plan for the province of Bali for 2023 to 2043. So in this discussion, I'm going to mention RTRW, and that's the draft regional spatial plan. And according to Pak Adi, he said, I'm still waiting. We suggest that the safest position at this point is to enter a holding zone. He said that the holding zone is between the old plans and the new plans, so putting things on hold, as we say. He said that this is the safest thing to do at this point with the airport. And let's be honest, the airport has been a pain for everybody. He said there is need for a second airport, or Ngurah Rai is overcrowded, and it's hard to extend it because of the lack of land. And if tourism is going to develop, there needs to be, he said, new access door. However, with the directives from the chairperson of PDIP, Megawati, Ibu Megawati, former president of Indonesia, perhaps the position of North Bali Airport development plan will be delayed. Apparently, Ibu Megawati is not happy with this and does not want it to go ahead right now. And she conveyed those feelings to the governor when she was here looking at the Sanur development, and I talked about that a video or two videos ago. And she's also conveyed her feelings about this to President Jokowi. So at this point, it looks like the plan is to develop the airport, Ngurah Rai Airport, more. So Dita explained that the airport's plan was right to expand tourism in Bali, but that at this point, money would be better spent, according to Ibu Megawati, on infrastructure development outside of the airport, that Ngurah Rai can be expanded and can be developed more, as well as not only airports, but toll road crossing, ports, and so on. Currently, the Ministry of Transportation is focusing on developing a number of infrastructures that already exist on the island of Bali, such as increasing passenger transportation capacity at Ngurah Rai, rather than building the airport, and the toll roads and the ports. And so Megawati, among other people, have said, hey, look, it's better to take the money that we've got now and develop what's already there, already in process, rather than starting the new airport. Now, one of the big problems with the new airport was where to put it. It was going to be on the east side of the coast here, over by Kubutambahan. Then it was going to be over in the west side by Grogat, close to the national park. Then it was going to be back over there, and they were going to build an extension to the land. And then it was going to be in another place over there, and then it was back over here. And so it's gone back and forth. The last plan was to build it around Sumber Kelompok, and that's over in the west by the national park. And the government had some land, but there was other land that they needed, but there's people there that didn't want to give up the land, and so there were a lot of issues around that, as well as people who said, look, we've got the national park there, planes coming in there are going to disturb protected species, the birds, there's monkeys, and so not a good idea to build it there. What's the best thing to do at this point? They said, let's put it on hold. let's wait. They've taken it off the National Strategic Plan. It's going to be on the long-term plan from 2023 to 2043. The governor said there's no plans to build the airport at this point. We don't have any plans to build this, and so we are back to the old situation. However, according to members of the DPRD, at least one member, Nyoman Rai Yusa, he said that the local community still hopes that North Bali Airport will be built in Buleleng. Doesn't make any difference if it's on the east side or on the west side. They want to build it in Buleleng. And so, again, the government is saying, look, okay, we did all these plans, we did all this study of the land and stuff, but now we're going to have to do some more because what we've got is not sufficient. And so if you're waiting for North Bali Airport to be built in order to get up north easier, ain't going to happen anytime soon, as I've said many times before. You can take the shortcut over the mountains when they finish that. It's still in construction as far as I know. And that will cut down time to go from the south to the north, or you can just stay down in Canggu or Ubud. I think that's case closed for the North Bali Airport for quite a while. And I haven't talked much about COVID. Remember, this used to be COVID-19, Bali COVID-19 update, I think it was calling. I forgot now. Jokowi says Indonesia entering transition period of COVID-19 pandemic. Even though public mobility restrictions, PPKM, was revoked at the end of 2022, the president and other officials are saying everybody needs to be cool and follow safety procedures, safety and health procedures and protocols, and government officials need to make sure that that is being done. Pak Jokowi asserted that particularly state officials must be mindful in issuing policies related to the economy. He considered the current condition as a good time. Economic growth in the third quarter was 5.72% and 5.3% year on year. Pak Jokowi also recalled his decision against lockdown in the early days of the pandemic, even though 80% of his cabinet ministers and the House or DPR members requested him to do so. He said he refused to do that because he was fearful of public chaos. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But what about Kraken COVID? Health Minister warns of Kraken COVID. Rapid transmission, but weak. Health Minister Pak Budi said on Thursday that the health ministry is constantly conducting contact tracing of a Polish national who's been declared Indonesia's first confirmed case of Omicron XBB subvariant that is called Kraken. This subvariant, he said, has a high transmission rate, but it's weak. He said, what does that mean? It means hospitalization is not high. The minister announced the first case of Kraken COVID in a House of Representatives hearing that was done the other day, and this was a Polish citizen who entered Indonesia through Jakarta and then traveled to Balikpapan, not here in Bali. The Kraken variant is a subvariant from Omicron BA1, BA15, and BA5, and it transformed into XBB. Despite the virus's mutation, the health minister claimed that community immunity is currently relatively exceptional. So he said that, God willing, people will be able to handle the new subvariant if it begins to spread in Indonesia because of the high vaccination rate and the high number of people that have already had COVID here. However, he strongly suggested the public continue to use face masks, especially in tightly enclosed spaces and locations where there are elderly people, me, and comorbidities. He also urged people to take the second booster jab for better protection against the Kraken COVID subvariant. And one more segment on COVID today, a lot of COVID stuff. Jokowi recalls decision against lockdown in early pandemic. I meditated for 3 days. Pak Jokowi said I meditated for 3 days with this because I didn't have any experience with this. This is a new thing. We didn't want to make mistakes. And so I was proceeding cautiously. Under various pressures during the crisis in the early days of COVID-19, the president said, we didn't have clear minds necessarily. We were in a hurry. We were frustrated. We could make mistakes. We could do things wrong. And at that time, he said, if the government decided to impose a lockdown, he predicted that in 2 or 3 weeks, people would no longer have the opportunity to make a living, and once that happened, there would be mass disturbances. And even though there was no lockdown, state revenue fell by 16%, while state spending had to increase by 12%. The president said, look, if everything's closed, the government cannot provide assistance to people. And you know, if you were in Australia or the US, that people were getting some money from the government. Well, Indonesia, what was happening there was some assistance, but it was pretty meager. And so the president said by keeping open and not going into a lockdown, this made all government agencies work together. And one of the things that everybody working in unison was able to do was to reach 448 million vaccine injections amid geographical constraints in the country. You know, if you've been around Indonesia, you know it is tough, especially when you get over into eastern Indonesia. Wow, traveling can be a problem. So the president praised all parties involved, including the military and the police, that had gone beyond their core duties. He said going to villages to get people vaccinated is not an easy job. Okay, enough of COVID. Let's talk about tourism. Now, there's a couple of interesting segments here. Indonesia lags behind Turkey in tourist visits. Sandiaga Uno explains why. According to Pak Sandiaga Uno, this is related to supporting infrastructure and entry access. He made this statement during a meeting with the House of Representatives, Commission 10, answering questions about what is happening with tourism. According to a commission member, he said that international tourists visiting Turkey until December 2022 reached 50 million people, far greater than Indonesia, he said, which only had 4.58 million foreign tourist visits. He said, compared to us, this is an extraordinary gap, but it's okay. We have to keep striving to increase tourist visits to Indonesia. And responding to this question, Pak Sandiaga said that Turkey did not reach such an achievement in a short time. He said the Turkish government exerted extraordinary efforts to support the tourism sector. Pak Sandiaga said Turkish authorities invested tremendously, starting from basic infrastructure such as airports. Additionally, Turkey can be accessed easily by land as it's positioned between the continents of Asia and Europe. Meanwhile, he said, Indonesia can only be traveled by land via Timor-Leste and Malaysia, and that is limited. Furthermore, Pak Sandiaga asserted that the government continued to encourage quality tourism. There's that word again, quality tourism. In 2023, the Tourism and Creative Economy Ministry targets 3.4 million to 7.4 million foreign tourist visits. So, Indonesia is behind Turkey. Of course, we don't get the huge numbers like the Thailand does, okay, and Turkey is above us. Indonesia is still developing its tourism potential. Here's interesting. Bali is ranked second in the world's most popular destinations. Okay, this is Bali, not Indonesia. The Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy said that Bali had again received a world-class award from the travel site TripAdvisor through its annual Traveler's Choice Award for destinations. The award named the Island of the Gods as the second most popular destination in the world for 2023, surpassing London in third place and Paris in fifth. In response to this, Pak Sandiaga said that his party appreciates that the Island of the Gods is still at the top of the mind for tourists to travel. He said Bali has risen 2 ranks. In 2022, we were apparently 4th, now we're 2nd. Pak Sandiaga explained that the rating indicators for Traveler's Choice Award for destinations taken based on quality and quantity of reviews during the November 2021 to October 2022 period. He said Bali's job is to become a feeder for the other 5 DSPs. Those are the other special areas that Pak Sandiaga is trying to get tourists to visit. He said, this is an achievement for which we should be grateful. We hope that in the future, other destinations in Indonesia besides Bali will develop. And I strongly support that. Get out of Bali and travel around and see all the cool stuff that is in Indonesia. And Pak Sandiaga added that he hopes that other sites in Indonesia will reach number 1 in the coming years. And what are the 10 most popular destinations for 2023 according to TripAdvisor? Number 1, Dubai. Number 2, Bali. Number 3, London. Number 4, Rome. Number 5, Paris. Number 6, Cancun. Number 7, Crete. Number 8, Marrakesh. Number 9, Dominican Republic. And number 10, Istanbul. And one more segment on tourism. Sandiaga Uno, a very popular guy today, aims to attract tourists from sports tourism. Indonesia is going to host several international sporting events in 2023, and the Tourism and Creative Economy Minister considers sports tourism as an important part of attracting 7.4 million visitors to Indonesia in this year. At the end of February, we are going to have the F1 Powerboat or F1 H20 World Series at Lake Toba. Pak Sandiaga said this has been prepared and hopefully everything will go as planned and attract 25,000 tourists and boost the Lake Toba local economy. Another international event will be the FIBA World Cup 2023, which will be participated in by 8 countries, and the FIFA U20 World Cup, which is set to be hosted in a number of cities. Bali is also set to be home to the ANOC World Beach Games that will be in August of this year, and 205 countries will be invited. And it's hoped that this will accelerate the recovery of tourism and the creative economy sector. Pak Sandiaga is aiming to generate 5.9 billion US dollars in total and 500 million US dollars exclusively from sports tourism. And of course, we've got medical tourism that is planned for this year too. So a lot of things on the tourist front. And that is it for today. And what have we got to look forward to in the coming months here? We've got Nyepi coming up again, and then Ramadan and Lebaran. So a lot of stuff going on in the next few months. So stay tuned if you want to find out what's happening on the island. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.